Hi guys, it's Pete from MyDrewEvents.com. Today I want to show you how I keep my 3D printers cleaned, maintained, and lubricated to make sure that they work just about every single time. Let's get started. So obviously you're always going to have rubber gloves when you're working with resin printers. It's always a good idea to keep these handy because you're going to be using these a lot. And I also use them when I'm cleaning my printer. The first thing I usually like to do is using a microfiber towel and some glass cleaner that you can get, just about anywhere. Best prices I've been able to get on glass cleaner has pretty much been the dollar store or Dollar General, so check those places out. I take my microfiber towel, I spray a little cleaner on it, and I will usually wipe these off once every few days just to make sure that the plastic covers are all clean, and that way they always look good and I don't get fingerprints on them or sticky residue. I also use Fantastic for a lot of stuff. I use was it Magic Green, and Fantastic seems to work the best for cleaning out anything that you might get residue on or resin spills on. Now, when I'm cleaning my vats, whenever I take the vat out and if there's resin in there, I follow the same procedures every time. I take isopropyl alcohol and a paper towel and I just kind of drench after I've gotten all the resin out. I drench this with isopropyl alcohol, and then I will use a microfiber towel to wipe some of that off. Once I'm done there, I take my glass cleaner, shake it up pretty good, and I will spray that down with a microfiber cloth. I go ahead and I wipe this all completely off, top and bottom. And I follow the same procedures for every resin printer I've used so far, except for some of the higher end printers that have some different ways of printing, different types of things that you use on those. I usually clean the bottom as well. Make sure you get as much of the glass cleaner out. If you have a problem with sticky prints, so prints that stick to the FEP film, then I recommend getting a bottle of Rain-X, and you can spray that down, let it sit for a couple minutes, then wipe it off with a microfiber towel. The Rain-X leaves a nice slick film on the FEP paper, and it keeps the resin, after it's been layered, from sticking to the FEP paper. Once that's done, I take my vat and I put that aside. Now, as long as there's nothing on this but glass cleaner, I usually will wipe down my LCD display. And I'll typically wipe down the rest of the printer just a little bit. I do follow the same procedures with my build plate. So I will take isopropyl alcohol and wipe these down. I will either use Fantastic or glass cleaner on these. And it's as simple as basically just taking my microfiber towel, glass cleaner, or Magic Green, or whatever you want to use. It's a good degreaser and it dries up pretty well. Just wipe everything off so that your build plate is nice and clean. There's no residue on it. And once a month, I go through and I clean out the screw. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to show you how I do that. Now that I'll use a good degreaser, and I'll use some paper toweling. So always have some paper toweling on. Now I'm going to use some Fantastic. I'm going to soak this up pretty good. Make sure it's nice and wet. And I'm doing this over a trash can so that I don't just spill stuff all over the floor. With my printer on, I'm going to go to the manual settings, and I'm going to just kind of wipe this up and down a little bit. But I also want to go and just kind of hold the button down so that it drops. I got this set on 10 millimeters at a time, and then I'll go back up Always make sure I get the top. And you just follow this to get this as clean as possible with a degreasing solution. And then we'll go back up. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that right now. I'm going to do the same procedures here. Now, once I've got most of that off, I'll use the same microfiber towel and I'll just kind of start wiping this down a little bit. And again, I try to get in there as much as possible. The microfiber towel is a lot better than the paper towel because once it's kind of clean, the microfiber towel will actually get into the screw threads a lot better. And you can see there's still a lot of debris in there. Okay, well, that's all cleaned and I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. Now the next step is I want that to dry a little bit, so I usually use another microfiber towel and I'll just kind of wipe it down with a clean, dry microfiber towel. This is a good time to check these and make sure that those are nice and tight. So if you have the correct size Allen wrench, you want to get in there and just kind of make sure that these screws are tight in their seat, and that way you won't have to worry about that motor being a little bit loose and throwing our prints off. Looks pretty good. Now once that's done, I'm going to lower this just a little bit. There's two ways that I like to keep this lubricated. The best so far that I've done is I've used clock oil, and you can get this on Amazon. I'll put a link to some clock oil that you can get on Amazon or eBay. Both on my website and in the description below this video. And one cool thing is if you get the clock oil in these little squeeze bottles, which is pretty cool, you could take the cap off and just put a bunch of drops along the top here. And then I'm going to go up. And we'll go down. Now you don't need a lot of clock oil. You could actually use sewing machine oil too. Some people use grease. I mean, if it's a really high viscous grease, you can get away with that, but the clock oil works pretty well. I did try grease a couple of times, and yes, it works and it keeps it smooth, but it does get dirty quicker. So just keep that in mind. The clock oil will hold up a little better, and it's easier to keep it clean that way. So with that done, I'm just going to bring this back up. I'm just going to wipe this off around here where I put the oil, right about there. And then I'm just going to make sure that the rest of the printer is clean. Just grab my glass cleaner again one more time. Spray that, wipe off your display if you're all set. Now, if you're using your printer for a lot of printing and you're, let's say it's running 6 or 7 hours a day, with that fan running, you're going to get a buildup of dust over time. So I would suggest that if you do get a buildup of dust on your if you do start getting a buildup of dust inside with those fans running, then these screws here, there's 4 on this side, 4 on the opposite side, take those off, open up the frame, dust it out inside, make sure that your UV lamp is clean and debris free. You may have to disassemble that to get it out, but for the most part it's sealed up in the Elegoo Mars unless you've done any modifications. I did the parallel lamp on my e-packs, and that requires me to pretty much just open it up because there is no shielding around the UV lamp. The original one that comes from the factory, not the jewelry or dental version, that has a shielded UV lamp, just like the e-packs, and although it is a little higher power than that, you do have to take that apart if you want to clean it up. There are 2 fans in your e-packs printers, so you're going to get a little more dust than you would in Elegoo or in any cubic. That's pretty much how I maintain and clean this to keep it nice and clean. Again, microfiber towels, you can get those cheap. I'll put a link to those below in the description, and as well as the oil. Pretty much that's it. I do that once a month. I go through that, clean that gear out once a month. I have taken this apart several times, probably not that I had to, and it's been relatively clean inside. But again, if you do printing 6-7 hours a day and this thing's running all the time, you might want to consider, maybe once every 4 or 5 months, opening this up, cleaning out the inside, making sure there's no dirt or debris in there. That dirt and dust and debris will kind of ruin your printer if you don't keep on top of it. That's pretty much the e-packs X1. Very, very similar. On the e-packs, we have pretty much the same style lead screw here, and what I do is when I'm ready to, I will make sure everything's nice and tight from the outside. I have yet to have to worry about that on the inside. I will clean my build plate the same way, same thing for the vat, and re-lubricate this. That's as far as I lube. I don't lube the rails unless I find any debris in there, and I haven't yet, and everything is working really well so far. Keeping the screw cleaned and oiled is a little more important than those rails if you keep your printers covered. So just keep that in mind. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it. I appreciate all the shares I get, and I would encourage you to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And if you want to get notified every time I upload a new video, becoming a subscriber and hitting that little notification bell will get you into that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.